Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're like me, you've probably spent countless hours lost in digital worlds. Whether you're building a blocky paradise, saving a galaxy from alien invaders, or scoring that last-minute goal in a virtual stadium. But have you ever stopped, controller in hand, and wondered, where did all of this come from? How did we go from simple blips on a screen to the breathtaking, immersive experiences we have today? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. Get ready to hit the start button on history, because today we're diving deep into the incredible story of how gaming was created. Believe it or not, the story of video games doesn't start in a garage in Silicon Valley or a bustling arcade. It starts in the serious, sterile world of post-World War II science labs. In the late 1940s and 50s, computers were colossal machines, filling entire rooms and used for complex calculations, not for fun. But even then, a few brilliant minds saw a different potential. One of the earliest examples comes from 1952. A British professor named Ace Douglas created a game called OXO, a graphical version of tic-tac-toe, for his PhD thesis on human-computer interaction. It ran on a massive Cambridge University computer and was displayed on a cathode ray tube screen. It was never meant for the public, but it was a crucial first step. A computer was used to play a game against a human. A few years later, in 1958, a physicist named William Higginbotham at Brookhaven National Laboratory wanted to liven up the Lab Fest's annual Visitor Day. He noticed people were bored by the static exhibits. So, using an oscilloscope as a screen and some analog computer equipment, he created Tennis for Two. It was a simple side view of a tennis court with a net, and players used controllers with a knob and a button to hit a ball back and forth. It was a massive hit. For 2 years, visitors lined up for hours to play. Higginbotham, however, didn't think he'd invented anything special. He was just a scientist having some fun. He dismantled it and never patented the idea, completely unaware that he had just created one of the world's first ever video games. But the real seed of what we now know as video gaming was planted in 1962 at MIT. A group of student hackers and model railroad enthusiasts, including the legendary Steve "Slug" Russell, got their hands on a brand new PDP-1 mini computer. Compared to the room-sized giants, this thing was mini, only the size of a few refrigerators. They decided to create something to truly show off its graphical capabilities. The result? Spacewar. 2 players controlled sleek, torpedo-firing spaceships, maneuvering around a central star's gravitational pull while trying to destroy each other. It was fast, strategic, and incredibly addictive. Spacewar became a phenomenon within the tiny computer science community. Copies were shared freely, and programmers at other universities would add their own modifications, like an invisibility cloak or a hyperspace feature. It was the first open-source game, in a way, and it proved that games could be complex, action-packed, and most importantly, incredibly fun. The problem was, these games were still tied to computers that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. They were locked away in universities and labs. For video games to truly be born, they had to escape the ivory tower and enter our homes. The man who cracked that code was Ralph Baer. In 1966, while waiting for a bus, Baer, an engineer at a defense contractor, jotted down an idea on a notepad, a game box that could be plugged into a standard television set to play games. His bosses were skeptical, but they gave him a small budget and a couple of engineers to work with. Over the next few years, his team developed a prototype, a simple brown box covered in faux wood grain vinyl. Internally, it was called the Brown Box. It could play several games, including a chase game and, most famously, a simple tennis game. Baer patented his creation and, in 1972, licensed it to Magnavox. They released it to the public as the Magnavox Odyssey, the world's very first home video game console. It was primitive, using plastic overlays on the TV screen to create graphics, but the concept was revolutionary. For the first time, you could play a video game in your own living room. Around the same time, another key figure was cutting his teeth on Spacewar. Nolan Bushnell, an engineering student, became obsessed with the game at the University of Utah. He dreamed of putting a coin-operated version in every bar and arcade. After graduating, he and a friend, Ted Dabney, founded a little company. You might have heard of it, Atari. Their first major project was to create a simple, easy-to-understand arcade game. Bushnell hired a young engineer named Al Alcorn, who had never designed a game before. As a test, Bushnell gave him a simple task: create a game with one moving spot, 2 paddles, and a score display. He told Alcorn it was a contract for General Electric, just to motivate him. That simple project became Pong. They placed the first prototype cabinet in a local tavern, called Andy Capp's. A few days later, they got a call. The machine was broken. When Alcorn went to fix it, he found the problem. The coin mechanism was literally overflowing with quarters. It was too full to accept any more money. Bushnell knew he had a monster hit. Pong launched in 1972 and was an absolute sensation, igniting the arcade boom and cementing Atari's place in history. The success of the Magnavox Odyssey and Pong opened the floodgates. The mid to late 70s saw a Cambrian explosion of gaming. Atari released a home version of Pong, which was wildly successful and led to a wave of imitators. But the real game changer was the Atari 2600, released in 1977. Unlike previous consoles that had games built in, the 2600 used interchangeable cartridges. This meant you could buy one console and then build a whole library of different games. This innovation, combined with iconic titles like Space Invaders, which was first an arcade hit in Japan in 1978, completely transformed the industry. Space Invaders created a national coin shortage in Japan. When it came to the Atari 2600, it became the system's killer app, quadrupling console sales. People weren't just buying a fun toy anymore. They were buying into a new form of entertainment, a new hobby. From there, the momentum was unstoppable. We saw the rise of iconic characters like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, who introduced storytelling and personality to games. We saw new genres emerge, from the role-playing adventures of Ultima and Wizardry on home computers to the platforming perfection of Super Mario Bros., the Nintendo Entertainment System, which single-handedly revived the home console market after the great video game crash of 1983. Each step, from Higginbotham's oscilloscope to Russell's Space War, from Bear's brown box to Bushnell's Pong, was a crucial piece of the puzzle. It was a journey driven by curiosity, innovation, a bit of healthy competition, and a fundamental desire to play. These pioneers weren't just writing code. They were writing the first chapter of a story that continues to unfold today. A story that now includes billions of us around the world. So the next time you boot up your favorite game, take a moment to appreciate the incredible journey it took to get here. From a lab experiment to a global cultural phenomenon, the creation of gaming is a testament to human ingenuity and our endless quest for fun. What was the first game you ever played? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read your stories. Thanks so much for watching and for taking this trip down memory lane with me. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep dives into the world of gaming, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, game on.